I find it really interesting, like the psychology behind cheating, because at the end of the day, you're kind of only really cheating yourself. Which is a bit strange. But I do get why a lot of these sort of bad sportsmanship like things start to creep in. And I know that it's because they're coming from a place of pressure, whether that be internal or external. The pressure is for you to win, and then you start taking a little bit of a liberty. You go, I'll just shove it a little bit loosely there. My opponent won't notice. But then that's the start of it. It's like a gateway drug. Yeah. And then you suddenly, a few tournaments later, you're stacking your fucking secondary deck, and stuff like that. So you've got to really be careful.
It's just so sad.
It's a slippery slope, I think, for some people.
I just find that so tragically sad.
It is sad.
Hobby of all hobbies, right? And it's like, and
toilet dice and stuff, It's all that sort of thing.
That's funny, though. That is funny.
Welcome to the In the Tank podcast. Get ready for an hour of hot 40k goodness coming in your ears. You're in the tank now, baby.
We're live.
We are indeed live. Welcome, everybody, to In the Tank, episode 38. I've stopped saying the numbers because it's sometimes a little bit
and you've been
intimidating.
getting it wrong for like the last 2 months as well.
Yeah, so. I was looking at my thing. I was like, episode 35, episode 36, episode 38. Yeah. That's wild.
I keep having to change it in my notes, my show notes every week. I'm like, fucking done it down one again.
I know.
You're selling a short, mate.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. How you been doing, my man? You okay?
Doing most excellent, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm struggling.
Yeah, you are struggling. Yeah,
I've had a stream of bad luck this year.
A stream of bad luck, or a stream of
coming out of my body in various forms. So I got infected with quite a delicious stomach bug, stomach flu, awful stuff. So on Tuesday, it was not pretty, people. Yeah. It was not the funnest experience of my life ever. So there we go. So I'm just licking my wounds. And,
one of my mates was saying that ever since you started this fall to chaos, you've just been infected by Death Guard's plagues, like Nova's plagues, which is true, to be fair. Like that's your household has been hit pretty hard this winter.
There you go, see the blessings.
Yeah. We've just had the chicken pox here as well, so it's been brilliant. Thanks.
There you go, see. It's
I blame
spreading.
You
my influence is spreading. But there you go. And then people are like, it was on the Discord, John was talking about the fact that, like, I'd always chaos faction because of my Dark Angels loyalties. At this point, I'm like, I can't even argue
the
this
oldest
anymore.
Memes are the best, aren't they?
Apparently
although
so.
Space Wolves aren't chaos, they're definitely loyal.
See, you're smelling weakness like a car carried on.
I'm circling you today. I've already been told off pre-recording. He was like, if you're going to be snippy with me today, you can fucking back it in.
Look at this behind the curtain of In the Tank.
I tried to talk into my microphone a bit better today because apparently last week, I don't know what happened, so apologies for my audio last week, but I sounded like I was talking through someone's underpants
that was weird.
The entire time. So, yeah, apologies for that one. Hopefully,
not another indie operation. It's all cool. Yeah. It's so cool.
It is.
So I'm going to do the whole GW lean and the stance. Go, so what are you working at? What have you been working at?
So I have been doing a little bit of hobbying on my Death Watch, just trying to get my kill teams updated because, as I said, the last time I really worked on these was a couple of years back, and the kill teams have changed a wee bit since then. So I've just been getting like some of my Inceptors done, and I've got to do the new Jump Pack Assault Intercessor guys for that squad. So there's a few little added guys that I need to sort of update the squads with. So I've just been working my way through that, cutting shoulder pads up and trying to fit them onto Death Watch shoulder pads onto everything. So that's been fun. Ooh. And then the rest of the time I've just been working in here in the barn. We're getting really, really close now. So one of my mates, Sam, the absolute legend, came over last week and helped me for an entire day in the barn. And we got so much shit done here. We've got like the TV up so you can see that from the stream. So obviously you can, when you're actually live, you can see what everyone else is seeing and you can see the chat and all that sort of stuff. We got all these gigantic rubber mats out of the room because they were just stinking of rubber for some reason. So we're going to get carpet in here now, which will be better for the acoustics, to be honest.
Yeah, and also nice. It'll just feel nice.
Yeah, it's to be a bit more professional.
I love a carpet and a rug because being my Lebowski years.
I bet you've seen your way around a few carpets in your time.
I certainly have.
So then we got a couple of the cameras working. Those of you in the Discord will have seen a little bit of our test footage just coming through with a bit of Africa playing in the background for some reason. It was just playing on my computer.
That's really
but
cool.
Yeah, so we've got the dice cam working and the top down and the main camera, and I've got all of the cables now to do the rest. So we're really pushing on. I think well, I'm obviously going to be going away for a week in about a week and a half's time. And then once I know, but we'll get another episode recorded before we go, so you guys won't miss out. But yeah, when I'm back, I think the plan is to basically finish it all off that weekend and then go live at the beginning of April. So I've been saying we're going to go live at the beginning of November. We're going to be going live at the beginning of December.
You've heard it here first.
Yeah, so it's been pushed back once again, but I do think that we are actually properly there now.
To be honest, rather it be good. To be honest, buddy,
Sure.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
We got
It needs to be right. And also,
Yeah.
we finally got someone making the logo for the back wall, which is going to be excellent.
Oh my God.
Like a backlit logo of the battle barn for the behind us in the shot.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we built the dice box. We got everything working. It's going well. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
You're
Quite a
like-
lot. Busy week. What
You're
about yourself?
pro day one. Sorry, I'm just quite mesmerised by that. That's
Yeah,
pretty
well,
awesome.
you know.
Well, as I've been leaking out of various orifices, and I'm here today because, you know, we
Making the effort.
keep calm and carry on.
Yeah.
I haven't really had that much sort of in my haze of delirium chance to model much. However, been gunning my way through the inner circle companions because I've been loving that. However, I did have a naughty go, a possessed.
Oh, mate,
Which,
he is beautiful, by the way. Is that Blanche paints the red? Yeah, that I was stunned by that. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on your it's on your Instagram, right? You put it on there?
Yeah. No, I haven't put it on my Instagram yet.
Oh,
bless you. It's not finished.
I know it's not finished, but the red alone is worth it just for like a midway
thank
through
you.
shot. It's so such nice edge highlighting. Really cool.
Oh, you're very cute. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
No, and I just got bored, and I was like, I need to do something just to palette cleanse it. And I was experimenting with the Blanche Sue wall painter deliciousness, and I loved it. I had so much fun, and I did that, Ed, in an hour.
Wow, no way. That's really
That took
good.
me an hour. That took me an hour to do
that's
that,
good.
guy. And I was like, wow, if I can replicate that across 10, because I'm planning to do my 10 blocks of possessed in 3 different colour palettes.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I'm going to do one which will be the classic word bearer scheme, which is that with grey shoulder pads, one that's grey with red shoulder pads, and one that's a slightly chalkier grey with red shoulder pads. But I had a lot of fun doing that, and that's wicked. And just drowning in Fnatic paints and loving that, really.
Yeah.
That's that. Honestly,
I need to try them.
Like, but you like the reds, right?
Yeah, really, really gorgeous. Honestly, loving it.
Pucker. Thank you.
Pucker,
mate. That's
yeah.
very cool. That's very cool.
Good hobbying, mate.
Thank you. And yeah, just experimenting with some stuff, really. Getting ready to obviously get everything done for the team event. Working on my Gladius Dark Angels. So all good. All good. So I don't go bloody 1 and 4 again. So
You'll be fine. Don't let it
You're
get
right.
to you.
I'll be right. And you can tell it's bothered me, right?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
just like,
It's all right, mate. Honestly, it happens to us all. Literally, it's happened to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
happened to many people. It's sometimes you just have a bad weekend. You get the tough matchups.
it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
These are
It's all
good.
good. At least I wasn't playing Spaceball. So these are good. So
For me
before
and half the bloody room apparently who
Yeah,
kept
that was
coming up
so
to you
funny.
going, "Oh, I like your
so
space
funny,
balls."
so funny, so funny.
Good work, peeps.
Speaking of good work, peeps, before we proceed, like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, you're getting earlier every
There you
week.
go. There you go. See, I'm done with being unprofessional now. I'm like,
It's
this
got
is it.
10
I like
post-it notes now around his screen.
just there. They're all there staring at me. Please
Yeah, good work.
please, if you enjoy the pod, and we've had some really lovely feedback of late, actually.
Yeah.
Including some really lovely people entered the Discord as well, which is
Yeah,
really
and some
cool.
great comments.
Yeah, lovely, actually. Please subscribe. It means a lot. We're like slowly getting
Clawing
out
our
of
way
small,
up there,
small
baby.
channel hell, and we'll get
Yeah.
out eventually, but it'll
We
take
will.
a while.
One day.
But like, please, if you love what we do, like, comment, subscribe, leave us a comment, and get on the Discord.
Yeah.
Like our social medias, we love Instagram. Like being
all
a
down below.
millennial. Being a millennial, we love a bit of Insta. We love that eternal doom scrolling. So get on Instagram and give us some love. And yeah, we really appreciate your feedback.
Yeah.
So
And thank you to our Patreons as well. You guys are absolute legends. You help keep this cheaper for us, which is amazing because we just have a few monthly outgoings every month to keep this going out onto all the platforms and all that sort of stuff. So
Which is totally
we really
worth
appreciate
it.
you, genuinely.
Yeah, thank you.
If you guys do want to support, there is a link to the Patreon down below. So thank you.
Nice. There we go. See, all of the business done. Let's talk about our first very, very juicy topic. Now, I must confess, I've got a lot to say on this subject, but you are the case study guy in this instance because I'm quite naive to this, right? And I want to obviously voice my opinion because I'm an opinionated bastard and I like to throw my weight around in terms of my opinions and stuff. But this is not my area of expertise. It's your area of expertise.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about famous cheaters in 40k, right? And is redemption possible? Should the community give certain members a second chance? Does cheating belong in the hobby at all, right? So we're going to have a frank and open discussion surrounding the taboo subject of cheating in 40k.
Exactly. And we don't want any witch hunting or any of that sort of crap in the comments or anything. So just keep it civil because this is a sort of topic where everyone's going to have an opinion on it, whether it's one way or the other. So, that's absolutely fine. We are just taking a neutral stance on this and just sort of having a look at it as an interesting subject to debate because I think it genuinely is. And when we say cheating, I don't just mean cheating. I also think we're talking about like bad sportsmanship at the table and that sort of stuff. So what spurred this on is that there has been a recent controversy in the wider sort of competitive 40k community. I'm sure many of you will have seen it already or watched the video, etc. But if you haven't, I will fill you in on it. So basically, there is a chap called Innes Wilson who plays for Team Scotland, and he is one of the guys from StatCheck. And he was live streaming the other day with his mate where they were talking about some of the stats from tournaments over the weekend. And Innes had recently gone to the Manchester GT where he had faced Alex Harrison. Now, Alex Harrison has got a bit of a reputation as a player who doesn't necessarily have the best sportsmanship. And I believe he's had a ban from the UKTC in the past, whether it was for direct cheating or not, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's since obviously come back off of that ban. And from what I've heard generally from the wider community, he's not a great opponent to play. And Innes basically just said, I had a terrible experience playing Alex at this event. And, he just called him out on it. And Innes's point was that he felt that you should be able to call these people out for it at events and, talk to your TO about it and sort of, try and move forward with it because otherwise it just flies under the radar. And now Innes is obviously a well-known competitive player. He's like one of the top GSC players in the world. And he's an incredible player and a really well-respected guy. And I think he was basically trying to say that, if Alex is doing this to him, what's he doing to other players? Those of us out there that aren't as experienced as Innes or that are new to the game or coming back, this is our first tournament, etc. You could come in and have a horrific experience playing someone like that and then be put off of it for life. And basically he was saying, I feel like this kind of thing doesn't belong in competitive 40k. And that's why he called him out on it. It's not the first time this has happened. Other people have had previous bans and we'll go into that. But that's what spurred this conversation on because I just thought it was a really interesting debate point to sort of talk about. How do you address it? What can we do as a community, etc. So, Russ, give me your thoughts. What do you think about the whole thing?
I mean, that's really interesting to bring that to the table. I actually hadn't heard of this event and this issue at all, right? And I think it takes quite a lot of bravery to potentially call someone out on their misconduct, right? Where it's like you automatically at that point almost put yourself in the situation where you're potentially quite vulnerable to cliques or people having to go at you back in return, right? But I feel that, you kind of have to do this kind of thing with TOs and stuff like that in order to keep your space healthy, to keep your events healthy and stuff like that. And this game is a weird kind of game, right? Where it's like, we've talked about this on the pod before, where it's such a community-based game and everything involved in it from the ground up is so grassroots and it takes you so long to make an army, put an army together or whatever. And yet having a really bad event or having a really bad opponent, if you're a new player, could be the death of your 40k experience in general. And that's not right, man. It's just not. It's really harsh. And, you're all there to have fun and you're all there, I presume you're all there to have fun and have a great time. At least that's why I go to events. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe I'm the weird one. But my point is that, it's not a normal gaming sort of thing where it's so community based that kind of behavior has no place in this hobby. I'm taking quite a hardline stance on this, in as much as I cannot abide it really, and I can't abide rudeness in that form and stuff like that. Like, if your opponent's a bit salty, if they're having a rough weekend or whatever, then, you know, within reason, you can try and elevate each other's spirits and kind of move past it or whatever. But if someone's being like quite aggro or confrontational or coming for blood at all cost, right, then that's an issue. Yeah. And, you know, opens up the wider discussion of, is that person redeemable in the future, right? And you know, because it's hard, because you become a little bit like Batman, where it's like you're this vigilante character in the community, right? And it's like, you know, it's a slippery slope, and you got to be careful as well, like by that same token as well, because they might not be aware of the fact that they have issues or whatever, or, you know, there might be so much going on there that they might need to be checked and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a lot going on there. Do you know what I mean? They might have no idea that their behavior is so destructive. Yeah,
and I think we've touched on this before, where we've said that this is, at the end of the day, a social interaction, you know, between two people. And it's a long one. It's a 3-hour social interaction, generally, at least. And, you know, that's something where I find you wouldn't want to have an awkward 3-hour social interaction with anybody. Whenever I go to the table, I'd love to, on like the ideal way, obviously, winning or losing aside, I'd love to come away from that game with my opponent either, you know, on the verge of being, you know, a friend, or somebody that's then going to want to reach out to me in the future and be like, hey man, you know, great game, etc. And that's the kind of thing I want to leave my opponents with. I don't want to leave them thinking, what a cock, you know, I'd never want to play him again. Because if that's what's happened, regardless as to the outcome of the game, then you've kind of lost, really. Because if you keep doing that, then eventually you're going to get this reputation and people are going to not want to play you. And I've had this before with like my local scenes, where we've had players who are, you know, that guy kind of players, and they get to a point where they just can't get any games because nobody wants to play them because they're fed up with their shit, and they're getting to a stage where it's like, you know, the only way that these people are getting games is by signing up to events that will actually let them play there, because these people have been banned, and, you know, from certain local events and stuff. So it's just not a good road to start to go down. And I think the interesting thing about it is, like, certain other places like Magic the Gathering and all of those sort of scenes are very hard on bad sportsmanship and cheating. They will come down on that shit real fast, and you're out, you know. Whereas with Warhammer, we kind of, I don't know what it is. We're all there to have a good time, I think, generally speaking, right? And I think that a lot of people, if they come out of a game like that, it kind of just, they don't necessarily go and report it. They won't necessarily like make a big thing out of it. They'll kind of brush it under the rug and go, oh yeah, that was shit, you know. Sorry, go on.
No, I think it's because as well, I don't think you're wrong in the personality front, by the way. I think that you're absolutely right. I think
we tend to be a bit
non-confrontational, right?
Exactly.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit pissed.
Word.
I'm a little bit piss and vinegary, where you'll know my opinion halfway across the rooms, right? So like, I'm not like that, but like, I don't think you're wrong in that opinion at all. But I think the difference between like Magic the Gathering or TCG or even a bit esporty, right, is like, a lot of card games are predominantly like, don't get me wrong, the collecting element of the game is there, but predominantly it is like a game first, right?
Yes.
Whether with Warhammer and stuff like that, like competitive Warhammer actually makes up a very small percentage of people that buy Warhammer, right? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, you know, it's
growing,
it's still
but
like,
it's not as big as narrative. You know?
Nowhere near, or even like kitchen table or whatever, right? So like that infrastructure of just, you know, expectation of what behavior should be like, I just don't think is necessarily there compared to like more competitive games that have been there forever. Do you know what I mean? And I think predominantly it is more of a hobby that then is also a competitive game on top.
Because there is that hobby lag. You know, to go and play a game of Magic the Gathering, you just need to go and buy a load of cards.
Shuffle up and play.
That's it. Off you go. You know, cards are already printed. They're already done. You don't need to paint them. God, imagine if you needed to paint every Magic the Gathering artwork. You know, it's that kind of thing. And I think you bang on with that. Like there is. It's a different kind of game. And I think that also it's not as easy to spot cheating outright in this game as it is with like a Magic the Gathering tournament or something where someone's slipping cards into their deck. You can count those out. You can check someone down. You know, if someone's adding an extra inch of movement here or there and being a bit loosey-goosey. And,
subtle.
You know, yeah, exactly. Because that's a lot of the time, this is what I find really fascinating about cheating as well. Whether it's like micro cheating like that, or whether it's bad sportsmanship, or whether it's just full-blown cheating. You know, like we've seen video evidence of people on stream like saying that dice are a 5 or a 6 and they're just like a 1 or a 2. And the idiots, because
Why
like,
would you? Why
it's
would
on
you
a
do
fucking
that?
dice cam, like literally ridiculous. But anyway, we're going to that now.
Baby.
Yeah. So it's like, I find it really interesting, like the psychology behind cheating, because at the end of the day, you're kind of only really cheating yourself. Which is a bit strange. But I do get why a lot of these sort of bad sportsmanship like things start to creep in. And I know that it's because they're coming from a place of pressure, whether that be internal or external. The pressure is for you to win, and then you start taking a little bit of a liberty. You go, I'll just shove it a little bit loosey there. You know, my opponent won't notice. But then that's the start of it. It's like a gateway drug. Yeah. And then you suddenly, you know, a few tournaments later, you're stacking your fucking secondary deck, you know, and stuff like that. So you've got to really be careful.
It's just so sad. Though.
It's a slippery slope, I think, for some people.
I just find that so tragically sad.
It is sad.
Hobby of all hobbies, right? And it's like, and it, you know, and
toilet dice and stuff, you know? It's all that sort of thing.
That's funny, though. That is funny. But yeah, no, I just find it all a little bit tragic, really. And it's like, you know, like what happened to me recently. Events. Sometimes you just get your ass whipped. You just got to deal with it. And you know what? You get better. You just get better. You just get better. You grind it. You get a bit better. You grind it. You get a bit better. So, you know, as you say, you're only cheating yourself and your own development as a player if you do that and you don't relish those learning opportunities that life give you.
Let's say that, you know, you find yourself on this slippery slope and you start getting a bit loosey-goosey with your movement. You're adding an inch here or there. You start, you know, flubbing dice rolls behind buildings and, you know, just these sort of small little things that are cheating. But yeah, exactly. They're just sort of adding up over the course of a game, adds up to a significant advantage, that sort of stuff. So let's say that you're finding yourself on that road and you get caught by an opponent or a TO walks past and sees it or something like that. What do you think, and we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below on this one, because I think this is really interesting. Do you think that person should be given, you know, a warning? Do you think they should be banned either temporarily or permanently from that said tournament circuit? Or do you think, you know, they should be given a second chance? How, because that's what I find really interesting, because obviously we've had this before. Alex Harrison himself has had a previous ban and come back. And we also had other people like Manny Chima, who is a really good guy, by the way, like lovely chap. I met him a couple of times now. He was getting a bit of a reputation at one point for this kind of like sportsmanshipy kind of stuff, rather than the hard cheating. But like, I think people were starting to have a few bad games against him here and there. He had a little bit of a temporary ban, came back, completely cleaned his act up. And I've had like reports from people that I know who have played him since, and they said they've had excellent games, really good fun. And he's still playing really fucking hard and doing really well at tournaments. So clearly this isn't a necessity.
He didn't need it. Yeah, he didn't need
exactly.
It.
You know, he just needs his skill at the end of the day. But like, should these people be given a second chance? Because Manny's a great example of somebody who's been given that second chance, a little ban, and he's come back and turned his act around. Alex, not so much apparently. So, you know, what do
interesting case studies. Like, I find this fascinating because I'm not down with this. This is really interesting to me. See, I find it fascinating, right, that we have a game where we have such like specific detailed rules concerning like
it's so
loads of elements of gameplay of our game, like everything from like, you know, all of what's going on with our updates to terrain, like the, you know, and the you know, uniformity of terrain and how that goes out. Yet we do not have a universal tournament sort of like thing on cheating, right? There is no, and I think that's a problem, and I think that needs to be addressed. And for me, it's dead simple. It's a 3 strikes warning TO situation.
Sure.
And if you get banned from one event, ban them for a selected event of that umbrella of events for an extended period of time. And, you know, potentially if you are a TO, it should be at your discretion whether you allow that player into your event or not. It's your gatekeep, man. Like,
yeah.
It's a privilege to come to like a local event. That's great and awesome. Like, obviously the Oxford Onslaught and we love Michael or whatever, right? It's a privilege and an honor to go to an event like that.
Sure.
If the TO decides that actually, hold on, you might be quite horrible and, dare I say, cancerous to this event. Would you
they might
mind,
not want you there.
Would you mind not? Do you know what I mean?
I know that's well within their rights to say that.
Exactly. And I think that's totally fair. I think it should be a 3 strikes at an event you're out vibe, right? And like, if it was the UKTC kind of vibe, right? Like if you're banned from one event, you're banned from all of them, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes.
I think that's how it goes. And I think you're pretty bang on. Like I think, clearly people can turn their act around. That's evidenced. And I think that I don't think it's fair to just be like, you did, you found yourself on that dark path, fuck you forever, you can never play 40k again. Because it's a game they love, clearly, whether or not, they've fallen down that bad road, regardless of that. Like, I think, the giving people short bans, to begin with, that maybe get longer. So let's say that the first offense, you get like a month ban. Or like the next tournament, sort of, you can't come to or whatever. Yeah. The next one, it's a 3-month ban. And then the third one, it's a ban for the entire season. Yeah. And then once that's gone through, if you do it again, then you're just banned. And I think at that point, that's on you. Really,
yeah, because, dude, if at that point you are then, do you know what I mean? You're then putting a middle finger up to authority at that point and going like, I'm going to still cheat anyway, then, dude, that is so on you at that point, right, to do it. And like you said, I think, and by that same token, I do think that redemption is possible, right?
For sure.
Of course it is. Like, you look at how silly we were as younger people or whatever, and like how you can evolve and change over time, or even just a different psychological state or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's potential in us all to make great changes in our lives, right? Not being a hippie about it, but it's true. But like, if you're deliberately being a horrible member of your community by pushing that all the time, no one wants you there. And like, the problem is it's not so much the fact that you're going to be bashing heads at the top tables and causing a ruckus there, which is already bad, but on your way to get there, you might be putting off people for life is a problem.
Yeah.
And, this game, this entire crux of this game, whether it's waxed or waned with popularity over the years, is a result of your community, and it will live and die by the strength of its community. And if you're fucking over the community just to like get around in, that's a problem, and you kind of need to get spanked for that, because that's just not fucking on.
Because all it takes is for Sean the Seal to be at his first event, and he's like, he's coming in there. He wants to just do his 3 or 5 games, depending on whether it's an RTT or a GT. He's not looking to win any. He just wants to come away, having tried it, good experience, which I think a lot of people, including some of the listeners of this show, will be in this situation, whether they've already just done their first tournament or they're going to one later this year, etc., etc. That's a really exciting thing. And then if you draw into one of these guys round 1 and then have your shit pushed in the nastiest way possible, it's not about losing. It's just about having a bad social interaction where you come out of it going, that was really hard work, and I felt like that was a miserable 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back. That's not what we want at all.
No,
I don't think anyone wants that. And if that's you need to have a good look at yourself and think about why you do this hobby. If it's to win, clearly you don't need to push these increments of like cheating to win. I know that there's on the top tables, it's a very fine line between who wins a big event, right? I get that. But that's just not the way to do it. And you're also, even if you won like that, you're not really winning. You know in your heart you've cheated.
Yeah.
Who's this for at the end of the day?
Exactly.
Right?
Look at the monster you became along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, if you look at yourself when you started the hobby, is that really why you started the hobby in your first place?
Yeah.
And if it is, get a life. Like, seriously. Like, get a fucking life. Like, it's just not fucking on, really. It's not. And, when I play a game, I always make sure that my opponent is, like, in for the ride on everything that I do, where it's like, I'm advancing here, I'm doing this, I'm
you work with each other, right? You're checking things for each other.
Do you reckon this charge is 6 inches? Do you reckon this charge is 7 inches? What do you reckon? And it's like, and you could potentially debate something and kind of go, well, that's fair enough then. All right, then, we'll do that.
And that's what TOs are for, right? Because if you really get to a point where you're massively disagreeing on like a line of sight issue and your laser pen batteries have run out, then you can get the TO over and he can have a look and, figure it out for you and come down on one side or the other. And that's what it's for. So
it's also about the intention of the law, right? Where you know what your opponent's intention is when they're doing such and such a thing. And it's like, I've said to my opponents in the past, like, in case I forget, I'm picking the calendar stuff at the end of the term or something, right? And it's like,
unless I say otherwise, it's always going in
I'm
the sky,
I'm doing this. This is what I'm going to do. And like, it's very clear then what intentions for rules are. And granted, someone could still be a prick and go like, you didn't pick your calendar stuff. Blah, 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 blah,
yeah, or the other way, which is like where they will say I'm picking it up, and then they'll pick a secondary where they want to leave it down, and then they'll go, well, I didn't pick it up deliberately or something, and then you're like, well, you said you would pick it up, and then it's those sort of things. That's again one of those really awkward interactions where a lot of people will be like, okay then, and they just let it slide. But that is a cheat, really, if you've stated your intent.
And you wouldn't have known that either. Do you know what I mean? Like, it takes stuff out of a thing. And also, like, don't push your opponent's nicety either, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, a tabletop, even at a games club or whatever, if you're doing something out of sequence or if you forget to do something like bloody an entire phase ago or something like, okay, you could retrospectively go back and do it. But like in a tournament, like don't be that guy to like go like, do you know what I mean? Just lick it off and go, shit, that
and
feels
that's on
bad,
you as well, and that's up to your opponent as to whether they give you a take back or whether they don't.
Don't put them in that, like, don't try to not put your opponent in that situation where they feel like the bad guy for not allowing you a play when actually, I don't know. It's really complicated. I guess that's the other thing with this game is it's so complicated that it's easy to miss detail or it's easy to miss
Everyone
intent.
makes mistakes, right? And like even the top players after bloody 8 games over a weekend or whatever they've ended up having to play because of shadow rounds and, semi-finals and stuff, they're going to make mistakes. Like even if they're one of the best players in the world because they're tired. And like the regular Joe is going to be knackered after 3 games. Like in his 3rd game in his first tournament ever, you will realize how much that fucking hurts your legs and your back and stuff. And you'll be mentally drained and physically drained. So, you've got to kind of expect mistakes to happen. It's when people try and pass off cheating as a mistake or, this sort of stuff. And that's what we got to be careful of. And it's a fine line to draw, right?
And then before you know it, you've got loaded dice down the fucking
down the
U-bend,
boggo,
and you're like, oh Christ! But by that same instance, I do think redemption is possible, and like, and you can learn a lot. And I think this is one thing that I do love this hobby for, like getting all like woo is like not only from that perspective, but like you really dig deep with so many elements of yourself that you don't realize that you had, whether it's your artistic element of what you do, because we all have imposter syndrome, right? Or whether it's
you're autistic.
I mean, maybe.
There's a lot of us on the spectrum.
Yes, neurodivergency to the max, right?
Yeah.
But like, or a whole manner of things that you discover about yourself, and you kind of find your tribe. And it's like, look at us, man. Like this whole pod was founded on the friendship of 2 people having a game at a tournament. And that's how this pod was founded. And we've never looked back. And I love you to bits. And
likewise, buddy.
If we would have had a shit game there, that would have been it. It would have just been like, fuck you, Ed. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, imagine if I'd have just been like, a little goblin. I know I look like one, but if I'd actually been one and been a twat to play against, you'd have come out and gone, oh, fuck that guy.
Dude, I was playing a meta unit. I was playing Desolation Marines with the Apothecary, right? Like with the thing. You could have been like, fuck that unit. You're such a dick for taking that unit. The whole game through it. And you won. And you won convincingly. So, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think like people grow as players, and when you as you said, you will find things out about yourself. A lot of people I find early on in this game, they'll sort of take it quite casually, then they'll start to get better, they'll go to an event or 2, they'll start to put the pressure on themselves to perform, and that is a very dangerous turning point, because at that stage you can really easily get into the phase of that dark road where you're slipping down the cheating, or even the other way, which is another one we talked about in the past, which is things like if the dice don't go your way, like dice blaming, or like getting really salty at events because you're rolling badly or whatever it is, or beating yourself up for mistakes. Like those sort of things aren't cheating and they're not bad sportsmanship, but they do affect you as a player, and they also affect the way you act at the table. And obviously, like that will start to mount up during a game. if I'm just being a salty, grumpy bastard the entire game because I'm rolling badly, then my opponent's going to think, well, this isn't much fun. I feel bad enough for winning already, and now he's making this more miserable. Like whenever I get diced at a table, and it does happen occasionally, not that much. They generally even out, but sometimes I'll get diced. It's just the odd game, and when it happens, you just got to roll with it. You got to do the best you can and have a laugh at it. Like my opponent and I, my last game at the ITT recently, we were having a good laugh about the fact that I just couldn't roll a fucking charge to save my life. It was funny. Like we were just like, this is becoming like a meme at this point. And that's what it should be like. You should take that interpretation because again, we're just trying to have fun and tell a story and enjoy the game, regardless as to whether it's in your garage or in a competitive arena. So it's important to, like you said, Russ, remember why you got into this, right?
And also at the end of the day, it's a game of fucking toy soldiers.
It is.
Don't get me wrong.
It fucking seriously, don't
exactly.
we? We really do.
Don't get me wrong. It's a very spenny game of toy soldiers, and it has arguably the greatest lore of any fictitious world ever. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. It's still a game of fucking toy soldiers.
It is.
And if you're attaching your ego to the outcome of a game of moving fucking toy soldiers around a board, you need to check your reality a little bit and go like, what the hell is wrong?
Ego in 40k is a really difficult one. Like we talked about this again when we were talking about that sort of, sportsmanship and stuff in the past. And I think it is a hard one. A lot of people have a big ego and it's fine, but you've got to work around that and you need to kind of learn and, get to know thyself. And yeah, exactly. Just take it easy. We're all here to have fun. Make it a lovely experience for your opponent. It's like what I always think it's like that sort of mantra of treat someone how you want to be treated. Like
that's a great
if I
one.
was to have a game of 40k against somebody, how would I want my opponent to be acting throughout that game? Whether it went well or bad for them, that's what I'm trying to put out the whole time. Just be yourself and have fun, right? And don't cheat.
Coming from a musical background, though, even then, at the height of egos in 40k, that's nothing compared to the music world. Holy shit.
Mate, I'm sure.
Oh my god, dude, it's horrifying. It's horrifying.
Yeah, I bet it is.
These people are not connected to reality in any way, shape, or form, and it's just like, oh my fucking god, how have you survived?
Mental.
But, whatever. It is what it is. It's cool.
Yeah.
But let us know your thoughts on this,
because
we would love to know, because this has been a really, like, you brewed this topic, and I was like,
it's just because it came up on my radar, and I just thought it was a really interesting one to talk about, because I think, we haven't seen what UKTC's stance is on this. Innes has said that he's not going to play another UKTC event until they deal with it. And, whether or not that's going to happen.
It's quite a stance.
It is, especially for such a top player, And I think we're going to have to see how they come down on it, because it's up to Zach and his team at the end of the day. But I do think this is a topic that needs to be talked about. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that Innes is bang on. I think you should be able to call people out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're all too polite here. And we're all like, we don't like that. Like you said, we don't like confrontation. And I think that's fine. But when it comes to a shit experience for yourself, you need to be able to take that and go, actually, I don't want this shit experience that I've had to be passed forward to my next opponent, and then, and et cetera down the line, and actually stand up and say, this was bad because of X and Y. Then at least the TO can deal with it how they see fit. And at that point, it's on them and not you. But I do think as a wider community, we should be calling out cheating, and we should be calling out shit sportsmanship and just general douchebaggery at the table, because there's no place for it. This is a fun hobby and we all love it, and we want to have fun with our toy soldiers that we fucking spent millions of pounds on.
Yeah, exactly. I've bankrupted ourselves on.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, right, when Warhammer's so weird, because when everything's going well and everything's great, it is literally the ultimate hobby. I like
it. Is. I fucking love it.
I've played a lot of games over the years. I've been a little bit into esports at one point. I've been really into TCGs. I was a really good Magic player at one point. That was in a previous life.
You look like a Magic player.
Dude, of course. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm going to come and beat you up. Right? And but I can safely say hand on heart that, like, out of all the games that I've played, the ups that I've had in this hobby have been the greatest ups. Equally, some of the lows have been quite low. And it's like, try and find that median of like calling people out, but also trying to keep your hobby as healthy as possible.
Exactly, and like it's hard. Like if I had a shit opponent, I know personally that I would find it hard to confront them about it and say, "Look, mate, you were a bit of a dick in this game, and I feel like you should take that away and sort of have a think on it." That's not an easy thing to say. If you don't like confrontation.
It's really
that
not.
really isn't. Like some people will have the balls and they'll just say it. Like that's fine. That's cool. If you can do it, then do it. But again, I do think the point that you touched on earlier is there should be a mechanism for those of us that don't like confrontation to take the TO aside and have a little word and sort of just move it forward so that they're on their radar, whatever it is. That needs to happen a bit more. And I think it almost feels like that's frowned upon behavior, but it shouldn't be. It should be the norm. You should be able to talk to your TO about bad opponents. You really should.
I 110% agree. Nice.
So let us know, guys. Yeah, please.
Yeah, wow, we went on a rant.
Yeah,
wow,
it's a good topic. It's a big one. I think it really, it's a meaty topic. You can't just gloss that one.
So, moving on. So,
dry blender. Go on.
I don't think we can. I don't think we.
No, it's a dry blend. That's why.
It's a hot, hard
going
blend.
In hot. Yeah,
hard blend. I don't know about that actually. So, our favourite play styles on the old tabletop edge.
Fuck, this is taking a turn for the light.
I know. Like,
we are actually quite good fun normally.
Yeah.
When we're not super serial.
So would you like to start?
No, you
okay.
Go.
I've just got aggro beefcakes.
That should be your fucking number plate.
Aggro beefcakes. So I love a tough boy. Like I have learned that like I dwell best when I've got a really hard unit that like doesn't want to die. I quite like weirdly getting in my opponent's grill. Space Wolf jokes aside, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Everyone shut the fuck up. Yes, apparently so. Apparently I should just be playing Wolf
Can you give us a little Aru?
Absolutely not, no. Because it already exists anyway, so I'm sure
but I want another one.
No, absolutely not. Not with my current headspace. But yeah, no, beefcakes. I love a strong beefcake. I kind of run elite-ish armies. Mm-hmm. Not as elite as I could, obviously.
Yeah, you could go custodies or knights if you really want.
Exactly. I used to be an imperial whore, but now I have truly got on my knees for the 8-pointed star, and I love it. Apparently,
drinking that salty Kool-Aid.
But I very salty. But I am really getting in my opponent's grill early now.
Yeah. If there's not a 10 block of assault terminators in your deployment zone by turn 3, Russ isn't playing this game right. Apparently
not. So yeah, looking forward to playing a bit of Gladius, and of course when I play CSM, I think weirdly, and please forgive me, Father Emperor, but I think Chaos may weirdly suit my playstyle.
I think you're right, yeah.
Which is really horrible to admit, and I'm going to be like, oh God, no.
What's happened to you, Russ?
What's happened to me? Although I'm looking forward to a bit of Trixie with Old World and playing some Bushman, because of the old skirmishing rules when you can deploy it on the side of your opponent.
Flanker.
Flank into your opponent with Minotaurs, like...
Yeah.
So there we go. What noise is that?
I don't know, but I quite liked it. It sounded like half horse, half man. If you haven't seen that video, by the way, go Google it.
I have. It's funny.
It's great.
So beefcakes for me, lad. Beefy, all the beef, and quite literal beef in the form of Beastman as well. God, imagine a Beastman steak. That'd be
think
nice.
If I had to summarize my army choice, like my playstyle choice, it's annoying pricks. It is. It's just annoying pricks. I was going to go and be like, oh, I really like fast and like whatever, but it's not necessarily that. It's just annoying pricks. Like Necrons, annoying pricks. They all get back up again. They're annoying to kill, et cetera, et cetera. Then you've got like Gene Stealer Colts. They're coming back.
They're the very definition of annoying pricks.
Yeah, they're annoying pricks. It's all that sort of thing. I do like tricksy armies. I do like fast. I think guerrilla warfare kind of hard hitting, that sort of stuff is what
You're
I'm
the
into.
Viet Cong
I am the Viet Cong, yeah, exactly.
to my America. Fuck yeah. I know
Who won that war?
I know that's kind of like not getting political, but that's kind of a weird thing to say right now. Oh my God.
It is. But yeah, so that's what I like. Just being an annoying bastard, basically.
No,
jumping all over
it's
the
almost
shop.
like you should be playing Jakari, Ed.
I will one day. I'm sure I will. When they get their range refresh.
That's true. You did say that. You did say that. When the range refresh happens, you'll probably do it.
I will do it.
See, in the same way that I should probably be playing like Corn Berserkers or something as well.
Yeah,
right?
you'd love. I mean, apart from the fact that the 8-bound sort of models are a bit sort of, I'm not.
I think I would love playing World Eaters.
I think you would enjoy them. Yeah.
There you go, see. But yes, you do strike me as a tricksy lad in every way, shape, or form. You quite like having an ace in your hole.
I've always got an ace in my hole.
I know you do. Look at how
Occasionally,
somber our first topic was.
In the toilet with the toilet dice.
We were super serial for our cheating part of this, and now we're just like, dick jokes at
Unleashed.
home. It's just like all the dick jokes. Like, let's have all the dick jokes.
Back to normal. Regular scheduling has resumed.
I think one time on In the Tank, we should swap play styles where I should play something tricksy and you should play something like beefy.
Yeah.
And like do that. That'd be quite fun, actually.
I'll be
That'd
up for that.
Hilarious.
I'll be up for that.
But so just as a very thing, what would be a faction that you would never play? Due to play style, just off the bat, like straight away, like what would be a play style that you would least want to play?
That's a very good question. I think it's a hard one. I don't think I would necessarily particularly enjoy Tau. I feel like they might be slightly too shooty for me. Like I know that they've got the Crute and stuff like that, but I feel like for me personally, I quite enjoy melee trading.
Sure, okay.
I quite enjoy that sort of gameplay where I'm like ducking out of ruins and rushing across the table and all that sort of stuff. And I don't mind a bit of shooting. I like a bit of shooting in my list because it's nice to be able to deal with like fights first units and various things. But it's not like something I'd want all of. I think.
No,
it's just I like to get a bit of crunch on the go. So maybe that. Yeah.
For me, it would be one of your favourite factions. Genestealer the Cults is the anti-me. Genestealer the Cults is the anti-me.
You've always said that.
It's a horde army.
Yeah.
It's tricksy up the wazoo. Nothing like it. Just give me such a headache. Like I'd have to think so far in advance.
Yeah.
It would just kill my brain. Like I just wouldn't be able
plan
to.
Plan generations in the making. Exactly.
Exactly. I'm for the here and now, motherfucker.
You just want to lick the stamp and send it. Get straight down the middle.
Apparently I do. So who knows?
Maybe
it will be
that.
blood
Sometimes
for the
that's
blood
the
god
move,
one day.
You know? Sometimes.
Yeah. Apparently. But
let us know your favourite playstyles down below.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's interesting. I do think you're right.
And to be honest, I think now and again, I think you should play out a play style just to see what it's like. And who knows, maybe you'll surprise yourself and go, actually, I did enjoy this more than I thought I would.
Swap armies with your mate or go and play a game on TTS, because you don't need any models for that. Great idea.
Or when the app was, free and you didn't need codex codes, you could have just done it.
Imperial Agents is really annoying me in the app at the minute.
Oh, so annoying. Yeah, like when you want a cheeky assassin.
Yeah,
I
just have to keep opening new recruit and stuff like that. It's just... Yeah.
Sort it out, G-Dubs.
Sort it out,
please. For a 10.5 or 11th edition.
Yeah.
Sort it the fuck out. Speaking of that habitual process, are hobbyists at their fundamental level creatures of habit?
I would say so, but I think that a lot of us are slowly changing as we grow as hobbyists, because for the longest time, and we talked about this in our painting episode recently, I think it wasn't that long ago, for the longest time I only ever used Games Workshop paints, Citadel paints. And it took me a while to sort of break down that sort of fear barrier of like the unknown to try other paints. And I'm really glad that I have. And we talked about that, with Peach and we talked about it before as well. Like, I think it's a great thing to do. Just break out of that comfort zone. And also the same with the hobbying side of things and converting and all that sort of stuff. I think it's one of those things where you start off doing little bits and bobs, but then you can really throw things to the wind and see what sticks and have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I think I do think we are quite habitual. I think like a lot of people are habitual in that they want to stick to their army as well. Like I think a lot of people, like myself with the Necrons, you stick to it for like ages.
Me
yeah.
as well.
You with your Dark Angels, yeah. We're just like real diehard fans of that faction. And then it's quite nice to actually take a breath of fresh air, pick an army that's completely different and just try it. It's so much fun. That's what I've done with the GSC. It's great. Love it.
Oh, another form of chaos for me.
Ooh, so what do you think? Are you habitual, do you say?
See, it's interesting because I am and I'm not, right? Like where from a factional based choice, I totally am. Actually, despite the fact that I own actually quite a few armies and stuff like that, right? And I'm now going wild with my armies and especially with my chaos, my 40k chaos and stuff, which has been really cool. I've only ever played Dark Angels at event because that's my comfort blanket. That's like, and that's from 3 editions now: 8th edition, 9th edition, and 10th edition. Right?
Yeah.
I've only ever played Dark Angels at events, and the first event I ever went to was at the tail end of 8th edition. And I'm starting to like shake myself off from that now. And this year will be a big one for me because obviously I may even play Death Guard at the LGT.
Yeah,
which would be massive for me. You should do. That'd be massive for me, right?
That'd be really fun.
Especially with their new decks. Like,
ooh, spicy.
I've got a funny feeling they're going to be very good. But regardless, right? Like from a play perspective, and I am weirdly very much a creature of habit.
Yeah.
From a hobbying perspective, not at all. I don't know if that's my like creative part of me in a different part of my life, but I'm weirdly left field when it comes to like conversions and modeling and stuff like that. Well, I go fucking nuts. Like if anyone's seen my gladiator tank, for example, with like chunks of lions and stuff all over it, or like pretty much all of my Dark Angel army is all converted in some way, shape, or another. Like nothing is standard, nothing is stock. Like all the heads are weird, all of the shoulder pads are weird, all of and it's kind of a unique army. Like the whole fucking army is completely.
And you got your name plates.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Like exactly, as weird as it may sound, like it's all very unique, right? And whenever I go into an army project, that's kind of like my headspace of like, how do I make this kind of at least a little bit me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you wouldn't have reflected, I think.
So the conversion part of it has always been there, if that makes sense. The paint stuff really kicked off with what made me really think was Two Thin Coats when that started about 2 or 3 years ago, when Duncan obviously formed it. And just having Duncan's name on it is like, as basic as that may seem, made me really think about like life outside of Citadel painting, where I was like, interesting. Like this is really cool. And for the record, I really like Two Thin Coats paint. They look gorgeous and stuff. But what I've found is the viscosity and like the way that paint moves is so different between brands, right?
Sure, yeah.
Where I've loved Citadel as like a basic like sort of thing in terms of like they're kind of like the middle of the road Tesco's of like miniature paints for me, right? And then like Vallejo.
Vallejo?
Vallejo.
That well-known Spanish organisation.
Vallejo. Vallejo. Are they Spanish? Are they actually Spanish?
Yeah, I think Vallejo is Spanish.
They've had some issues recently.
They have, yeah.
Vallejo.
Or at least they've got
for
a load
me,
of
their
their
viscosity. Exactly. Their viscosity never worked for me. Like I just didn't like the way that shit moved on my palette. I never liked it. The old army painter stuff was mediocre. I quite liked the Two Thin Coat stuff, but where I've really gone into it, and I've talked about this before, and I'm sorry, but the Fanatic Army Painter paints, for whatever reason, when it goes on my palette, I'm like, this is really easy to work with, and my painting has got way better.
Do you use a wet palette or a dry?
No. I'm a basic bitch. I use my servo skull.
Oh, nice.
Like thing there. So I love it. I actually think that's the best thing GW has made in years.
I've just got loads of the plastic ones, the shit ones. I just bought like 12 of them off Amazon.
I think there are strengths and weaknesses with wet palettes in general, right? And I think the upkeep would drive me mad on one, right?
That's my problem.
To learn how to use them.
Because of my ADHD, I just like, I'll paint for a day and then I'll leave it for 2 weeks and then it's moldy by the time I get to it, and I'm like,
then you and also with dads, right? So like something can happen on the fly,
and then you've left it all out,
and it's awful and it's all fucked, right? No, dude, I'm sure there are massive advantages to wet palettes and whatever. They are good. But like you can get similar effects on regular palettes. It's fine.
Yeah, if I'm doing like a serious session, I'll use a wet palette. But as you said, dads, it's difficult.
Exactly. But weirdly, with the Fnatic range, I've just recently put an order in for a few Fnatic paints just to see what they're like, of different colours and vibes. And I have a funny feeling that viscosity and the way that it moves on my palette and stuff is going to be perfect for me. So,
yeah,
I might have found my perfect range. And I think, and that's taken me years.
Yeah.
So it's like, and a new range of paints that literally came out like 6 months ago. So,
yeah. So be brave, people. Get out of your comfort zone. Try the Fnatic range. Let us know what you think.
I know that it takes a little bit of investment in terms of like time and also like actual investment as well. But I think it's worth it because I think just swallowing it kind of lends to you not growing as much as a hobbyist. Yeah. And also, fuck GW pots.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry,
just the
but
worst,
dude.
I much prefer dropper bottles.
I'm getting to the point where like that alone is starting to really put me off. Where I'm like,
I don't mind it with their contrast ones because
they don't washes
dry.
Is fine.
Yeah, they don't dry in the same way. But
I agree
the
with
fucking normal paints are just.
Well, it just gets so crusty and and then it kills your paint.
Yeah.
It kills your paint.
You have to
gets
peel
to
it all off, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, the dropper bottles, like, again with the Fnatic ones as well. I don't know if you know this, Ed. I'm just selling like army. I do want to actually get endorsed by army paint now. Yeah, I love it. I'd love to suck all of that corporate tea. But they've got 2 mixing balls in every pot.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, I like 2 balls.
I do too.
I mean, I generally only put 1 in, just dip it in.
Oh no, you need to put 2 in.
Do you put 2? I'm a 1 ball man.
Well, normally I can't fit.
That's getting clipped. Fine. Bollocks. Fuck's sake. I set myself up for these. Yeah.
Normally a 1
I'll be in the Discord like that. Right, yeah. I'm a one agitator ball man.
See, I thought that was part of your joke anyway, and then you're like, bollocks. No, it wasn't, literally, in this case.
You never know.
Never know. But and I'm just learning that actually, like, wow, there is so much out there, and you owe it to yourself to spend a little bit of time researching, and don't be pressured to just buy Citadel paints because it's there. No. This is there staring at you, right? And I know that people online tend to use Citadel paints, but just use a conversion chart. Yeah. There's loads of conversion charts out there.
Same with the rattle cans for old thingy. I always
that's
forget
a great example. That's a Colourforge, right?
Colourforge,
Colourforge is a great example of the thing that we always presumed, which was like, you're in your GW, you got a thing, and it's the classic, like,
Chaos Black.
So do you need some paint? Do you need some
Peachy
undercoat?
did that on the pod with us.
You got your
spray can.
And I went there straight away. But it's like, the truth of the matter is, it's like actually thinking about it and taking your time and going like, wow, this is a better paint than what GW makes. And for more for less, and for 1 billion colours. Yeah. For all of these colours, like 50 different colours or something ridiculous.
Really helps. Yeah.
Whoa.
Suits you, sir.
So in terms of like coming out your comfort zone there, like that's a massive one. So like, has there been any revelation for any of you? Like, have you tried? What do you think? Am I going mad? Am I just dying due to the hype of the old Fnatic range? Because I feel like I'm a town crier at this point that's gone mad and is just like, Fnatic, like ringing a bell, like shame, right? And I'm just like doing it.
It's not like the Army Painter Series 1, which was wank according to Peachy.
It's not. But I mean, look at my Galvorback, right? Like that shit was real, and I was like, oh my god, can I paint like that? And it was like, apparently I can. So fucking hell.
Let us know.
Wicked. Let us know.
Let us know.
What are your favourite paints as well? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'd love to get the Siege Studio lads on at some point.
This is something I really annoyed that I didn't ask Peachy, or maybe I did, but I forgot, which was about the dry brushes. Like, I can't find good dry brushes at the minute. I don't want to spend an arm and a leg on old what's-his-name's dry brushes. What are they called? The white ones?
Artis Opus.
Artis Opus. I've got some. I didn't find them incredible. The hair came out on them really easily, I was finding. I don't know why. Like, they're good, but I don't know. I just didn't find them. They didn't blow me away for the price, right? And then the problem with makeup brushes is, they're fine, but I can never find the right fucking size.
Can I give you a recommendation? Orange brushes.
Do they do dry brushes?
Yeah, they just do.
Because I looked and I couldn't find any, but maybe I was just being an idiot.
Orange brushes. They now do dry brushes.
Okay, great. I'm going to check them out because I'm just looking for something because dry brushes kind of get annihilated a little bit, right? Because you really do give them some welly sometimes. And you want something like a price point of one that's going to last you long enough, and then when you throw it away, you're not going to feel like you basically burned your mortgage.
I'm curious. I'm actually curious about this because I'm gonna Google the price. How much would you spend for a decent dry brush?
For a decent dry brush, I don't know, probably a tenner.
Ooh, let's just see then. So orange brushes. I'm curious. I think I know how much they are, dude. So for £13.50, you get 3 of their dry brushes.
Great. I'll have a look. I'll probably go for them next. When I've absolutely destroyed these poor makeup brushes I got from Boots, I will give that a go.
You know that, again, they're very grassroots and they're getting massive now.
Yeah, I've heard from you've mentioned them before, but I had a look on them.
They're my favourite brushes. They're my favourite brushes.
That's cool. I'll give them a go, for sure.
There you go, see. And they're colour-coded for different tips, for like how to figure out what tips they are.
Nobody expects the Inquisition.
No, what a great blend.
Oh, talking about...
No one expects the Imperial Inquisition.
Exactly.
Wow. So the epicness of the Inquisition is our final topic for today.
Yeah.
And wow, what a way to like bring this back
you'd like
to...
That.
I loved it. That was great. It kind of shat me up, actually. So well.
I
was like, fucking hell. I was looking at the Orange Brush website.
Hopefully you didn't
and I just got
actually leak.
I wouldn't check my undies.
Yeah.
So wow. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but dude, I mean, what an incredible part of the lore, the old Inquisition, right? And like,
that's so cool,
dude. It's one of the most terrifying, epic, and just in awesome parts of the Imperial history is like the Inquisition and like how powerful this one organization is in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
What are your opening thoughts on the Inquisition in general?
I think they're fucking cool. I mean, Eisenhorn trilogy of books is probably one of the peak trilogies of books, if not the peak trilogy of books for 40k. Whenever anybody recommends books, it's even if they're not playing the game, it's usually Eisenhorn. Raven is really good as well, and that's another one. And then there's a few others that are
the
Beckwin ones, and then you've got some Deathwatch ones and some Grey Knights ones, and obviously various Ordos and all this sort of stuff. I think it's a really interesting one in the lore because they are a lore unto themselves basically, and they sort of exist on this upper echelon, like above the normal hierarchy of the Imperium. And they basically just got free reign to do what the fuck they like to an extent. And it's what I love, and I know you're a huge fan of this as well, is just the sheer fear that they put in the heart of Imperial citizens and probably other people like Xenos and Chaos, etc. But like if people see an Inquisitorial rosette, they probably shit their pants. You know for a fact that you are probably going to be, absolutely tortured to death or turned into a servitor or just, sent on the black ships or if you're a Saiga or whatever it is,
Or, your world may be, eradicated.
Yeah, exactly.
What I find fascinating is they're actually rarer than Space Marines in the galaxy, right? Like they're incredibly rare. Yet they have this almost like SS-like reputation of being everywhere at once. They've got Inquisitor agents everywhere that can relay information to all of the Ordos. And what's so interesting is like the lore of the 40k setting has so much detail about everything, right? But the foundation of the Inquisition is shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
Like no one knows where they came from. The rumors are that they were obviously Malcador's like sort of project, which makes sense considering like a lot of Malcador's sticky fingers in pies and what he was all about, which was the sneaky underhand of the Emperor, to achieve the Emperor's goals without becoming aversive, if that makes sense, right? But the origin story of the actual Inquisition itself is kind of shrouded in mystery. But all we know now from a modern perspective is what they are capable of today. And being an Imperial agent in that regard would probably be the most power trip thing ever. To have all of that resource at your disposal, right? And to be able to like be judge, jury, and executioner to entire sections of space.
I'm not judge, jury, and executioner.
He's a chunky monkey. Yeah. But like, dude, like I just cannot imagine if absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that's why Inquisitors go off the deep end.
There's a lot that
time.
have. There are a lot that have.
Well, in particular, the old Inquisitor Cripman that decided to like
Yeah.
eradicate. I think it was him that decided to eradicate worlds in order to stop Tyranid advances and stuff like that, right? Or to, watch Tyranids versus orcs smash each other up and then create also, like an infinite loop of death.
That's a cool idea, though, to be fair. It's also things like, the Inquisitors sort of like gain a powerful chaotic artifact, and they know the dangers of using it, but they also know the good they can do by using it. So you kind of get into that dangerous territory of like, do I use it?
It's classic One Ring syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's classic One Ring syndrome.
It's like, do I use it?
Yeah.
For Gondor.
Well, then you're a puritanical Inquisitor versus your heretical Inquisitors, right? And like, and what is so interesting is the division internally, right? Where it's this big political power structure between all of these hypo-ego maniacs that are like running the galaxy behind closed doors, where it's not really the Council of Terror at all. It's these fucking Inquisitor fucks that are running everything. And like, the amount of power and clout that they have at their disposal is wild.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Absolutely wild. But there we go. Also the fact you've got the 3 subsections of Malleus, Hereticus, and Xenos.
Yeah.
And like, which is your favourite, just out of curiosity?
Xenos. I like the Death Watch because I just love Death Watch. I just think they're very like they're very much a Game of Thrones sort of like, up at the wall kind of thing for me, where
I get that.
Like the long vigil, because obviously in Game of Thrones that used to be a lot more seen as like an honorable thing, and people used to send a lot more people to the wall. Whereas nowadays it's all like criminals and rapists and random shit like that, and it's just sort of the dregs of society.
The Death Watch the Death Watch is an interesting one. Right?
They're the elite of the elite, right? They're like the best Space Marines from whichever chapters they're drawn from, and they go there for whatever reason, and they just are awesome, and a lot of unique personalities and that sort of stuff to them.
Yet, depending on the chapter of origin, can be wildly viewed in completely different ways. The fact that like the Death Watch can take its tithe on all of the chapters of Space Marines at any point in time, right? Where you've got to answer the call, right? But like, depending on your chapter will depend on how that is like responded to, in as much as like, your classic Codex, compliant chapters like your Ultramarines and Imperial Fists, or your straight ballers, maybe like, this is great honor, like, let's go. But then your more secretive or shameful chapters, like your Dark Angels, your Flesh Tearers, your Space Wolves to some degree, would be a bit more like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be hard because I'm going to seem like a monster. It's interesting that they have
to work together. And like, if you've ever read any of the Death Watch books, it's really interesting, like how they work together and how there is like sometimes this like underlying animosity between the chapters, etc., where they're a little bit like, but they kind of have to put that aside and work together for the greater good and for the cause, But it's interesting to see that, and it's also interesting to see that adaptation of fighting styles, because obviously they did it really well in 9th edition, and I really wish they'd fucking do it back to how it was. Obviously when we had like chapter tactics or whatever they were called, like the actual sort of each chapter had its own bonus rather than necessarily where we are now, where you've got gladius that can be applied to whatever. Obviously that's fine, I know we've moved on from that, but it was really cool because what you could do was you could be running a Death Watch force, and then you could suddenly just give a unit like the army rule for Ultramarines or Imperial Fists or Space Wolves or Blood Angels, whatever.
Cool.
And it was super cool how you could just be like, right, we're going to suddenly be like advancing and charging this turn. In many ways, it was quite Gladius-y in the way it played, but very fun. So I kind of miss
quite
that.
a diversity as well, right? But
yeah. I mean, the reason I got into them is because I couldn't make my fucking mind up as to which chapter I wanted to play, and then I was like, why don't I just play all of them?
No, that's fair. So, I mean, coming from a Dark Angel's perspective, it's fascinating when you get a Dark Angel and a Space Wolf on the same kill team, right? Because they want to duel each other straight away, like they always do, and it's just like lol, like get that together. And
the Grey Knights as well. What do you think? Like,
see, I'm a Malleus boy. I'm a Malice boy, like Malleus. Like, they're my favourite. Like, I love the Grey Knights, and of course, I love the Sisters for Hereticus as well. But I love how, the Inquisition is so broad that you don't have to be one of these just rare Inquisitors to have a dip into that world, because you've got 3 factions there. you got the Grey Knights, the Sisters of Battle, and the Death Watch, right? As well as all the other elements of Imperial citizenry and being like
Inquisitorial agents and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like it's so diverse, and like I would shit a brick, man. Like I'd be, and I do love again the Eurocentric influence that like obviously this hobby
witch hunters
has.
And all this sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, but also like World War II reference, right? And the fact that it is all about like that SS Gestapo-y vibe, right?
Yeah.
Where, really.
I mean, if you see a Grey Knight, you're basically, as an Imperial citizen, good luck, because you're basically going to get turned an artist.
Well, months of shame, as we
talked about that recently,
right?
Again.
And it's like it's horrifying. It's genuinely horrifying, and it's one of the things like, and I'd say this all the time as like an imperial apologist, right?
Yeah.
Like I find it really hard to justify the Inquisition out of everything, right? Where on one hand, I kind of get it because chaos is internally corruptible and quite a Kool-Aid, as I've personally found out over the last like
bad boy.
I know, I feel terrible. I need to repent. But like
there's self-flagellation.
You kind of need like a secret police kind of thing to keep the Imperial citizenry in line across millions of worlds.
Of course you do, yeah.
And trillions of human beings, right? Like you kind of need that in a fucked up kind of way, but it doesn't give humanity the best look in the world, right?
No. And it's interesting because it's like a lot of the time there's a huge amount of crime that goes on in the 41st millennium, and it's really hard to get on top of that with like, obviously they've got their own sort of RBTs and police, etc. are on world.
You mean Judge Dreds?
Yeah, they are fucking Judge Dreds. They're so cool, aren't they?
They're so cool.
But like that sort of thing exists, but the Inquisitors just right above that. They're only interested in the really spicy shit. They're only interested in like a gene stealer uprising for the Xenos, or like a heretical cult that's gathering in the underbelly
an artifact
of a
that could like
city.
end. Or an artifact that could end worlds.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Or like
this sort
whatever.
of shit. They're in for the big money,
Yeah.
So, and it's just great that the Imperium has that arm to flex, and that it is just this sort of untouchable, monster that's just lurking in the shadows of the Imperium. I just love that aspect of it.
They are the most badass motherfuckers ever. They're kind of like James Bond times 1,000, and they have that like strutty sort of like enter a room like a peacock vibe.
Yeah,
it's like, don't
you can walk in as an Inquisitor to the room, and there's a custodian and a Space Marine, and you're the biggest motherfucker in that room.
Oh yeah,
even though you're the tiniest.
Yeah, you're human, but your authority is absolute. Yeah. When you can order Grey Knights around.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like old Custodes, like that's it now. But like, I don't know, man. It's fascinating. It is a really interesting one. I love them.
I do. And they've got some cool models as well over the years. I think obviously we've just had that one for Warhammer Plus, which I just got the other day actually.
Nice.
Which is cool. And then they had the one that I really love is the guy. I can't remember where we got him from. He was like a special one, but it's the dude stabbing the book.
Oh, he was great. He was the store. I've got him.
Yeah,
I've got him.
He's one of the coolest fucking models in this game. Sorry,
my Inquisitor is called Inquisitor Harkonnen, because of the old Harkonnen family from Dune. But yeah, when he's like stabbing the book, right? Oh,
so cool,
so nice. That's one of the best models GWs. Oh, you've just made me think. I want to paint him with my Blanche set. Oh my god!
Oh, you should, and you should do his fire the same as the one you do on your World Eater. So it's like their book. Yeah, there you go. That's the money shot right there. Definitely leaking now. I've
also got a Jacaro for his retinue and everything.
Do you know what? I'm a bit pissed off with Games Workshop that they've kind of shat on the Inquisitorial agents retinue, because you used to be able to take things like Jacaros. You used to take old what was his name? The one that in Eisenhorn, the like demonifuge thing. What was it called?
The demon hosts.
Yeah, the demon hosts and stuff like that. And they've shit canned it all now, and it's rubbish. I'm just like. Like, it's cool. I love the Inquisitorial agents.
Make a proper narrative book.
Yeah, I like the kill team. Don't get me wrong. It's cool that they've got like a servitor and they've got these different guys. They've got like the lunatic with the massive two-handed chainsaw and all that sort of shit. Really cool. We need another one of those with all the spicy shit in it. Make us a new Jakero, make us a new...
I love that Jakero mini.
What are they? So literally, Demonofuge thing. Yeah, those things. Like, that's the sort of stuff that I see when I'm thinking about Inquisitors. I want all that, like,
True Braille, like...
Yeah, he's absolutely so cool, yeah.
He is cool. He's the best part of this book.
He is, yeah. Very
But, like,
so.
Let us know your favourite Inquisitors.
Yes. Let us know.
I mean, I would be so corrupted by power if I was an Inquisitor.
You would, wouldn't you? I feel like you'd be like, you'd come out and you'd be like really a good boy for about 10 minutes and then you'd just be like falling into heresy.
Yeah, oh God. Especially me with how you've seen me act now.
Yeah,
I'm now, the old world, I'm now like clawing to the 8-pointed star in the sky being a beastman. It's like, it's madness.
I could see myself as like a Xenos Inquisitor and have I'd be like
you'd be so cruel. You'd have like your specimens in jars.
Yeah,
and you'd be like just pressing this like cute towel in like a thing, and you'd be like, and he's just like, killed me. And you're like,
do you know,
look at this.
The Death Watch have access to an enhancement called the Thief of Secrets, and the lore for it is super cool. It's basically like a power sword that like absorbs the sort of the vital essence of whatever of whatever like DNA level stuff of whatever it's like hitting, and basically it sort of like takes it in and analyzes it all and basically figures out weaknesses. So like it can poison them next time it hits them, or it can bring up a chemical that's going to, like arsenic for humans. It's that sort of level of stuff where it will sort of figure it out and then you can just turn it against them and absolutely destroy them. And in the game, it works in exactly the same way, which is super fucking cool. So it gives you like +1 strength, +1 AP, +1 damage or something like that. And then once you've killed a model, you get +2 to all of those. So it actually makes sense from a lore perspective as well. So it's fucking cool.
I just love how they look as well. They all tend to have like edgelordy long coats and just
they do.
And the women Inquisitors are so cool.
Yeah.
They're so
Grey
cool.
Fax and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but they just look like fucking bad bitches.
Yeah,
man.
they do.
Just like,
Grey Fax looks like the Demon Hunter from Diablo 3, like the female version. Yeah, she's got like the dual crossbows and stuff. Super cool. It's very like witch huntery and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Inquisitors are the shit, man.
They are.
Like, they are one of the coolest things about 40k. I would go on the record.
I would say so. I would agree. I just want more Eisenhorny style books. I'm Eisenhorny for that shit.
Eisenhorny for Eisenhorn.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you need to read the Beckwins as well, mate.
I will. That's on my agenda. I need to. Because I've read the others. I've read Ravener and I've read Eisenhorn. So that's next. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was cool. That was interesting today.
It's been a fun episode. We've had a lot to talk about. So
we went to some interesting places.
We did.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts on anything that we discussed today. It'd be fascinating. And obviously, don't be a dick to any of the people that we may have mentioned in the whole
please.
like cheating thing.
Civil.
Keep it civil, please. It's just nice to have open and frank conversations about the community and about like not being a twat in the hobby and stuff like that. But please join our Discord. We get new members every day, which is lush and like and all the Spaceless jokes aside, it's great to be on there.
Yeah, we're slowly growing. It's nice to be building this wonderful little community with you all. It's been good fun.
Absolutely awesome.
Genuinely lovely. Enjoying it. So
I braved a leaky asshole to be here today.
You did. You haven't shit yourself that I've known about, at least. I didn't hear any shitting. So that's really good. You've done well, Russ. You've held it in. Brilliant.
There we go, see.
Well, thanks for all of you for listening.
And thank you, my wonderful co-host.
Yeah, thank you, my wonderful co-host.
Indeed. See you next time, everybody.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.